Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Anthony Scandariato. Anthony is the host of Discovering Family Multifamily podcast, apartment investor, and a real estate investor. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Anthony Scandariato. Anthony,
Thank,
welcome.
thank you so much for having me, Mohammed. We had you on my podcast last week, and I can't tell you how many people reached out and loved the 4Ds that you mentioned. So
Yeah,
really good stuff, Mohammed.
thank you so much. If your audience are watching this, I appreciate each and every one of them.
Absolutely.
Anthony, did I pronounce your name right? The last name
You, you
Scandariato.
did. On the first try, we didn't have to butcher it. It was 100% correct.
Wonderful. Anthony, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to become a multifamily syndicate investor?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in the United States. I am about 30 minutes of, a little place called New York City. So I'm
Yeah.
about 30 minutes west of New York City in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. And I run, as Mohammed mentioned in the intro, Red Knight Properties, which is a boutique, multifamily and mixed-use real estate investment management company and investment management firm. And we buy mostly workforce housing, kind of garden style apartment complexes, and up and down the East Coast of the United States. So that's a little bit about us and how I got started and who I surround myself with. I got started. I actually worked for another real estate operator that was doing similar types of deals and transactions for about 6 years prior to me starting my company, Red Knight Properties, and my podcast, like you mentioned, Discovering Multifamily, and really learned the business, really learned the ropes, really grew into a leadership role there, and then wanted to take it to the next level and acquire, my own properties with my own group of investors, and that's what we've been doing since. So that's a little bit how I got started, and some of the influences were, my father. He's in the industry. And I always try to be around people who are smarter than me, who have been in the real estate industry for, much longer than I have. I've only been in it for now, I think it's seven and a quarter years. So I want people to have more experience than I do so I can learn from them.
Wonderful. Just curious how many doors, you have on this multifamily.
Oh, how many doors? We have 340 doors, which equates to about 45 million under management at this point.
Oh, wonderful. This is good. So in this multifamily, 300 plus doors and $45 million, I'm sure you learned something or two, which you are going to share with us today, what to do, what not to do. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot of things that could go right and a lot of things that could go wrong. So,
okay. So let's only talk about three. So what are the top three missteps to avoid when you're getting into a multifamily, investing?
Steps to avoid. Steps to avoid is getting in business. Real estate is a partnership game, so you really grow with partners. Getting, just like with any business, getting in bed with partners that aren't reliable, aren't trustworthy. That's number one, and then number two is the same thing with contractors, especially when you're doing renovations. Make sure you find a good, if not, three good contractors, in case one falls through. Always have backups that you trust and are valuable. And then, the other thing too is don't make the mistake of not having someone look over a deal that you're maybe analyzing, and just to have a second pair of eyes, because the underwriting process that goes into a deal could be pretty extensive, and you can make a lot of mistakes in that process. So it's always good to have a second pair of eyes on that, just to make sure if you're going to move forward with this type of investment. And Mohammed, as you know, real estate is a capital intensive investment business. There's very illiquid investments, so you want to make sure that all the numbers pan out from the beginning, so you're not in a bad spot in the future.
Yeah, you talk about the trusting your contractors. until they break the trust. You keep trusting them until they break the trust, because their past performance may not be the indication how they will break the next one. That's why you talk about having a three for each one of them. That's good. That's a great one.
Exactly.
So even though you worked for 6 years on real estate, learned from your father, and worked under someone else to kind of go through this whole process over and over, then you finally kind of launch your own business. I'm sure there's some failure in this one too. We want to learn. If you don't mind sharing one failure, so because there's so much to learn from. So, what is the single most professional failure in this multifamily investing? What did you
Yeah.
learn from it, and how did you recover from that?
Yeah, I think the three things that I mentioned, Mohammed, that I have faults in that before, and I've learned a lot from it. So in terms of, I think the number one thing was to really understand and like we said with the contractors and your staff, we've had to unfortunately switch contractors and staff members, pretty frequently. I think we have it in a good spot now, but having, I think maybe not doing a proper screening in terms of a background check or calling employer references, making sure that the candidate was basically qualified to do the job. Let's just say a maintenance technician, for example, repairing boilers and hot water heaters. We've made the mistake of hiring people who really have had no experience, and then we had to end up, outsourcing it to another vendor when we're paying somebody who's supposed to know how to do it already. So it's kind of, you're paying two different buckets to do the same thing. So we've learned a lot from that and made some adjustments from there.
Mm-hmm. This is good. So great. So you end up in paying twice for the same job, and that really your profits are gone, and sometimes there's the losses too. But however, that's a very painful lesson, what not to do the next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's important.
it's important. So let's switch the side of the table. So let's go on your success side. So what are your top three success secrets in a multifamily investing? Just give us your
Yeah.
best. Just give us your best one. Don't be stingy, okay?
Okay. Yeah, we've had some really successful deals, especially early on, and we're about to have a couple more. But in the beginning, we turned a building around where we bought it for, it was like 1.3 million. We barely put any money into it. We put a little bit of money into it, but we remanaged the entire building and re-tenanted space and released space, and the building was worth double, let's just say 2.1 million within a year period. So everybody, including myself and all the investors were very happy because we went and, procured a cash out refinance from a lender. So we were able to pull out a lot of money and profit, and we still own the building. So that was a very successful deal. And, looking forward to do more like those. That's just one example, but there's two other examples as well that are similar in those regards.
Mhm. So what are the success secrets? How you end up in getting those type of deals? The underlying process. What are the top three way to
Yeah,
get?
the top three, Mohammed, I think is to just make sure that the opportunities that you're getting from a deal flow perspective are thoroughly vetted, and you do your sensitivity analysis and make sure, okay, if this goes wrong, what happens? If that goes wrong, what happens? So just making sure that if everything goes wrong, are you still okay? Are you not losing money? So that's the way that we kind of look at all of our investments. So that's something that I would say is really important when you're trying to be successful in this industry. Number two, I think I mentioned it before. Just make sure you partner with the right people, whether it's another investor or you're teaming up with another operator. Maybe you don't have boots on the ground in a certain state, and maybe you have something they don't have. So from a value add perspective, so making sure you just you partner with the right people, and then like I mentioned it before, Mohammed, just making sure your team is filled with people who are smarter than you and
Yeah.
that have been around longer than you have.
Mhm. Wonderful, wonderful. Anthony, so Just curious, how much your investors IRR end up in making, and cash on cash or return on their investment end up in making? Just a high level number so we get the idea. Someone is
Sure.
investing, thinking to, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. So I threw out a few case studies on some deals we did, but didn't really talk about the numbers. We've hit we never, if we're presenting a deal, like I said, we're always looking at the worst case scenario,
yeah,
middle of the road, best case scenario.
yeah,
So I'm always putting out a very middle of the road analysis and model. So we usually target a 15% IRR over a 5-year
mm,
investment period.
mm.
However, we've been able to, this business is very incentive based and performance based. So we've been able to achieve that. I mean, I've been in the 40 IRRs on 2 deals now. But I'm never going to put out a book and tell people they're going to make a 40%
Understood.
return, because I'll just
Understood.
become another Bitcoin person.
No, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, just curious. You may know, I am also in real estate. So, however,
Yes.
we are building a safe city in Tennessee as a project Mystique in 4,000 acres,
Hmm.
and my partner is a recluse billionaire, Mr. O. He is worth a $10 billion plus, owns over 160 miles of land, and owns the 48 businesses. So, I'm just curious if you are open to have a meeting with him to have some brainstorming to see how he is able to make few hundred to a few thousand% on the real estate deals. So
Sure. No, absolutely. And I would say that those that project that you're involved in, I think, is a development project. Those development projects, yes, they could take a long time, but the
yeah,
returns are astronomical. And what I would say is what we focus on is more existing properties. We're turning them around. We're taking maybe a C property to a C plus, or a C to a B, B minus.
mhm.
So it's a little bit different in terms of the business model, but I completely am open to it.
Wonderful, wonderful. How the people who are Growth Hacking Secret Show community people are watching this right now, how they can support you?
Yeah, definitely. So if you're interested in learning more about multifamily real estate, we have a great ebook on our website. It's called How to Leave Your 9 to 5 and through multifamily real estate investing. So we have that free book. Just go to our site. You can go to my name, AnthonyScandariato.com or redknightproperties.com. It'll pop up, and just need your email, and we'll send it to you, and then it'll come back with all my contact information as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, Anthony, is written on your screen. Just take a screenshot and spell it one character at a time. It's very, very simple. ANTHONYSCAN scan DARISTO.com.
That's right.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Get the ebook and start thinking about how you can actually, with your 9 to 5. I would say don't stop right now. Keep making
Right.
money. Keep putting food on your table, and while you start learning of how to transition out. I did the transitioning out 23 years ago. 20 plus years ago. Same way I was doing two things at the same time. When I see my part time is picked up to a certain level, then I kind of jump. So
Yeah.
it's safe for you and for your family. Is that the right approach, Anthony?
Yes, it is. I wouldn't say that's why we like to say it's how to escape it. It doesn't mean leave it right away.
Yeah.
So how to escape it, and that takes time. I mean, while I was working, Mohammed, I was buying properties on the side. So it just got to a certain point where the income levels with just the passive income were almost close to the W-2. So it just made sense for me in my example. So
So we both had a similar path, to transition.
yes, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. So you go ahead and check the website, and we are about to wrap up. I like to ask a testimonial, a review for being a guest experience on the show. So here is my question. What would you say to your best friend about Growth Hacking Secrets show when I'm not there?
I would say check out the Success Secrets book that Mohammed has on Amazon, and listen to the podcast that we had on discovering multifamily to learn about the 4Ds, because I have people talking about it like crazy.
Yeah, thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate it. What would you say as a final word?
Final word is to just go out there. Don't be afraid to pursue your dreams, and but make sure you do it smartly and align yourself with the right team.
Yeah, right. Team mean together everyone achieve more. So that's why you have to have the right components of the team. You one bad apple in the whole team process can really cost you so much. So my last word is also the team. Thank
Excellent.
you. Thank you so much, Anthony, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.
Thank you.